FM podcast. Following 180 with Bob is encouraged on Twitter.
Kaya FM 95.9, good music, good friends, and golden. A lot of times we have these racist incidents that take place in malls, at schools, and it raises our ire. We get mad, we get angry, and then we never really follow up.
Yeah.
And there is a follow-up of the school in Bloemfontein. The SA Human Rights Commission has found a Bloemfontein school staff guilty of hate speech towards black and colored pupils. The children at the school alleged that staff called them racist, derogatory, and belittling names such as kafirs, baboons, monkeys, and little black bitches.
Wow.
That's what has been reported to the Human Rights Council.
Wow.
And the Mr. Mangena of the HSRC said the commission found the remarks constituted hate speech as defined by the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act. And in his words, he says these acts of hate speech constitute a violation of both human rights to equality and human dignity of the learners. And the commission made the recommendations for the school and the Free State Education Department. We don't know what those recommendations are yet, but Mr. Howard Ndaba said the Education Department welcomed the report and they will make sure they implement recommendations of that report. This is exactly the thing that happens. There was a racist incident and it was reported to the Human Rights Commission and there was action. So there you have it. It's a report back, and I think it's worth it that we actually get back to the people because we're the ones that tell them what is going on and where.
Of course.
All right.
Of course.
It's 11 minutes past 7 on Kaya FM 95.9. Good music, good friends. And, you guys use like hairpins and stuff, right?
For what?
To hold up your hair and that kind of stuff.
Or clips or scrunchies.
Yeah, I mean, I found it amazing that the rapist who's got about 70 years has, it was a hairpin actually that it belonged to the girl that he had raped. So they used a hairpin to get evidence and get him into jail.
DNA evidence, 2014.
Yes, that is correct. It's 12 minutes past 7 on Kaya FM 95.9. Good music, good friends. Cooley Roberts and I are ready and waiting. The man is here. Unfortunately, we're the only ones wearing red. We're the only ones wearing red.
I reckon he looked at what we were wearing on Twitter and he's like, those people, they think they can copy me. Good morning, Juju. How are you?
Good, and you, good.
You are in all the newspapers this morning.
Oh, not
EFF.
me, the EFF.
The EFF.
Yeah.
A year ago today, is this what you thought you would be saying?
Well, we knew our people are looking for an alternative, and the excitement which came about when the EFF was formed, we had to sustain it, and we think we are on the right track because there is general acceptance and happiness about the type of work the EFF is doing for the past 12 months.
The Citizen, the image is, we'll do it again. It is EFF members during a protest by EFF at the Gauteng legislature on Tuesday. The protesters destroyed the door to the legislature and engaged in running battles with the police. There's an image there of a gentleman dressed in red overalls about to wielding a brick, about to strike a door.
Yeah, no, I see it. I mean, we condemn this type of an activity where people use bricks to destroy property. We think this was supposed to be the most peaceful protest, and unfortunately, police had provoked our people who were peacefully demanding that their representatives should have access to the legislature because they were removed from the legislature on the basis that their overalls had a party slogan called Asijiki. And then they went out to wear plain overalls, and then they were still denied access. Yet when Makura was doing his state of the province, they were allowed inside. So we really don't know where this inconsistency comes from. The only requirement we need to be in the legislature is to win a seat through the democratic elections.
Yes.
That is the only requirement we want. The rest is bullying. The rest is undemocratic practice which is unacceptable, and we're not going to allow it. And we're going back to that legislature, this time with not less than 50,000 people, to go and demand that our people must have access in the legislature, with police permission or no police permission. The revolution requires of no permission. We're not going to be bullied by the ANC when we end our seat in the legislature. That is the most painful thing. You go through all what it requires for you to be there, and then you are told by an individual that you can't have an access. I was wearing overalls when I was sworn in by Chief Justice, a man who's trusted with the responsibility of interpreting rules and the laws of this country. I was wearing overalls when I was responding the State of the Nation. I was wearing overalls yesterday when I was responding the budget by the president, by President Jacob Zuma. I'm talking here of the highest offices in South Africa. They have no problem with these overalls. And the ANC in Gauteng, a group of elite, think that overalls represent gardeners, and therefore gardeners don't deserve to be in parliament. That's what Mekwe said to Dalimpofu. I can't sit here with a person who's wearing like my gardener.
What about the rules? Bob alluded to the rules, or I read somewhere that the rules, I should have read probably. The rule says that you're not allowed to wear your party's colors.
Yes.
You're not allowed to wear your party's insignia. Now, my confusion comes in, like, when you were at the opening of Parliament, you wore your red overalls, and that was okay because everyone was dressed up.
Yeah, I mean, not party colors. I mean, people wear red. I mean, if a person rock up there with a red suit, they won't say you must go away.
Okay.
They have a problem with workers' clothes, not the color.
Okay.
The party logo, we agree. We don't go into parliament or any legislature with party logos. We accept that rule. It's a fair rule. When we are there, we must be parliamentarians who look neutral and who assist with a responsibility of making laws for everybody in this country. We've accepted that ruling. The speaker said to them, "Asijiki is your law, is your motto." And which is not true. No, but we said, okay, fair enough, let's remove it and just wear plain overalls. They still don't want. We cannot compromise an agenda that seeks to raise the plight of the workers and the poor of the poorest. We seek to inspire the domestic workers, petrol attendants, farm workers, that they too, if they stand up for their rights, they're qualified to be in the legislature and parliament. We're trying to build their confidence here. We are in the struggle to restore the dignity of black majority who are the poor of the poorest. It's not just about clothes. It's a struggle to bring about confidence in these people who have been excluded for many years and who continue to be excluded even under the ANC government.
Julius, where you've come from, looking at your history, how your grandmother raised you, the ANC Youth League, and then with the ANC very close to the president at that time, it's a normal South African black guy who now runs a political party. I just wanted to take a brief moment, to talk to South Africans about what it takes to actually start what you started.
Well, I grew up in politics. The only life I know is politics from the age of 9 as a young pioneer into COSA's student politics, becoming its national president and becoming the Youth League secretary in Limpopo, from being branch leader, regional leader, into being a national president of the Youth League. And then I was elected the member of the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in Limpopo. Then, by virtue of being a president of the Youth League, sat in the ANC National Working Committee and the National Executive Committee, worked very close with the president and all those who had a responsibility both to campaign for president, to be president of the ANC and president of the country. And I accumulated a lot of experience with building of structures in the ANC and in COSAS. I will go into virgin areas where there's never been a political structure in the village or a township, and we'll have to start it afresh. I remember when I was a Youth League secretary, there used to be a Vembe secretary of the ANC Youth League called Pesi, who got shocked that I can actually drive my car into the most difficult, rural areas which are not easily accessible, to go and try build the structures of the Youth League there. So that experience then helped me to then contribute amongst all these comrades and fighters who are building an organization. And in most cases, I share with them how, if we want to be successful, how we should go about forming structures at a lower level. The secret of the ANC in succeeding against all organizations which were formed against it, or black consciousness organization, is because it is a mass organization and it has got presence everywhere.
Strength in numbers.
They've got numbers, and revolution is like revolution is about numbers. So in a revolution, size matter. Size might not matter on other things, but in a revolution, size matters.
Yes. So then, you know, but the question then would be, does one need to have that history that you've had with students' organizations, the youth league, to get to a stage where you can sit back and say, I don't like what I'm seeing right now with all political parties. I need to set up something and get together with people who believe in the same ideologies and set up a political party that's different from everyone else.
Of course, we had to ask the question, what is to be done last year, June, and ask people to provide answers. And people said, let's form our own organization which will contest for political power and be an alternative platform to fight for economic freedom. That's how the EFF came about. Why did we ask the question? The policies of the ANC adopted in Mangaung were no longer friendly to the struggle for economic freedom. The ANC Youth League got disbanded. The ANC in Limpopo got disbanded. Those were the remaining structures that continued to agitate for economic freedom. Yeah. And therefore, a platform had to be created for this struggle to be agitated from. And I did raise it even yesterday to the President Zuma that we formed the EFF because we had concluded that the ANC will not fight for economic liberation of our people, because it is in the nature of liberation movement that once they've captured political power, they can't go beyond. They do not know what to do with the economy of the countries they've taken over. You can count many countries in Southern Africa. They are stuck with political power. Sometimes even when they lose it, they use violence to maintain power. They can't go beyond the so-called political power.
It's a proverbial story in the Bible. You will take the people to the promised land, but you yourself will never see the promised land.
Yes.
Julius, now 1 million strong sent you to Parliament. What is your strategy going forward? I mean, you've been with the ANC. You know, you've told us about their weaknesses and this and that and the other. What then is your strategy? Because if you set your foot wrong, the ANC will keep you there as competition. That's politics. I don't think there's anything really personal there.
Yeah. No. There's no such a good platform to fight from like Parliament. Parliament gives you an opportunity to represent what you stand for. And we're doing exactly that. I mean, Helen Suzman teaches us that it's not always the numbers that matters in Parliament. As long as you can stand up and ask difficult questions and be able to represent your people without fear or favor. Sometimes when we do that, ANC comrades get shocked. They think we're there to make friendship. Some of them are still in denial. They think we're still part of them, and they ask themselves, why are these comrades doing the things they are doing? But, they will come to realize that we've gone past that stage. We are at a different level now. We're going to fight for our people. I mean, when we fought for the Marikana issue in Parliament and they forced us to withdraw, and we refused, there was a huge excitement from Marikana. Remember, Marikana is the only area where we won outrightly. Yeah. 3 wards. And we said to them, we are going to fight for your issues in Parliament. And we raised them without fear or favor. They forced us to withdraw. We refused. We are now taking them to court about that matter. Our people are so excited that indeed you have carried the promises. You have kept the promises you made during elections.
Julius, I don't want to focus on what all other media types are focusing on. The Gauteng legislature or the ANC will take you to court, and then the legal process will take its course. What I want to understand is, what are your immediate deliverables as mandated by the people who put you in Parliament? Well, you know, a bit of a timeline, 1, 2, 3 objectives that you want to meet now?
They've asked us to raise the issues we raised in our manifesto, since we have not not been elected into being a government. So we are raising those issues without any fear or favor. We are holding the executive accountable, and very soon we'll be engaged in the site visits, because most of the state institutions, we think they misrepresent the facts when they come to report to the committees about the good things they are doing, because those things remain good.